Today's episode of Ducktales, titled Jaws, but with a money sign instead of an S, which is either the most clever reference title of all time or the laziest. I can't quite figure out which one it is. It does something that I was really hoping the show would do sooner rather than later, and that's further the Lena plot. Lena is at the mansion for a sleepover with Webby, and while there, she takes the opportunity to hide a magical jewel in with some treasure bound for the money bin. Then, once the jewel has been added to the money bin, it merges with a bunch of the money and creates a money shark, which is pretty bad, but honestly better than, like, a money tornado. Or, God forbid, a money sharknado. And through her interactions with the shadow being Magica, her aunt, I think, is what the episode said she was. I don't remember exactly. I think that's right, though. We find out what they're looking for. Scrooge's number one dime. Because they're magical, and even if the dime doesn't have any special worth, it might have some kind of power, due to the fact that Scrooge values it so much. Though considering that in this episode we find out that Scrooge hates magic, I really doubt that's true. I feel like if he hates magic that much, enough that it's like a core part of his character, I guess. If the dime had any demonstrable powers, he would have gotten rid of it despite how much he cares about it. Or he would have learned to like magic, one or the other. Meanwhile, though, Webby doesn't realize any of this is happening, so she just wants to have a fun sleepover with her best friend, makes them matching bracelets and everything, and they do such a good job with Lena here. You can tell part of her wants to just give in and be best friends with Webby, but there's a part of her that doesn't, and we see what that part is, where that part comes from throughout the episode, as Magica continues to remind her that sentimentality is a weakness and people will betray you. Which isn't necessarily true. Like, it's something you should be aware of, right? But it's not like a guarantee. So we see where Lena's hesitancy to form a real bond with Webby comes from. And in the process does an absolutely excellent job of showing where one's real family can be less family than your chosen family. Like, Lena hasn't exactly chosen Webby yet, but she's on the cusp, you can tell. Later, though, as the night progresses, the boys decide they're going to go swimming in the money bin without permission, and Dewey straight up gets eaten by the money shark, which is named Tiffany, which I find absolutely adorable. And while the others are trying to figure out what to do, without bothering Scrooge, because they don't want him to get mad at them for this, thankfully, Launchpad's Dewey sense starts to tingle, and he shows up to help them get Donald's boat into the money bin so they can do a bunch of Jaws references. But in the process, everyone present, save for Lena and Webby, get eaten by the shark as well. Luckily, though, Webby has been studying magic behind Scrooge's back, so she knows that this is probably caused by a totem of some kind, and they can break the spell by overpowering it with something more powerful. A more powerful totem. Like their friendship bracelets. If their friendship is strong enough, they should be able to put the shark down. And it would have worked. You can tell it would have worked. They start lighting up with the literal power of friendship. It was very cool. But Lena is still hesitant, so she breaks the connection. Meanwhile, throughout all of this, Scrooge has been dealing with a publicity interview that's just been hardballing him the whole time, making him look bad. And so when the money shark attacks, his attention is divided between trying to recover his money, because there's a bunch of people showing up to grab the money that's falling from the shark's body, which, I mean, I would have done that too, frankly. And trying to preserve his image by actually keeping the thing from attacking anyone. And obviously, it's not like he doesn't care about people's lives, right? It's just, he's the kind of guy, he's the kind of character who, his money is his first priority, and he has to fight himself on that. And it's really funny. At the end of the episode, he has to let all of the money that made up the money shark go. And, like, it kind of serves him right, frankly. Because regardless of whether or not he's a bad person, he was kind of dismissive of the amount of damage he does to the town on a regular basis in this episode. And it's cool how they end up beating the thing. Webby gives herself to save Lena. She pushes Lena out of the way and gets eaten by the money shark, which now has spidery legs, which is, just fantastic. I'm not going to see that in my nightmares or anything. And so Lena jumps in after her, and she could have gotten the dime. She could have gotten the dime for Magica, because the shark has eaten it at this point. But she chooses Webby over the dime, and uses the power of friendship to neutralize the totem that's holding the shark together. You can tell that she really does value Webby over her blood family, as she should, because Magica is kind of a biatch. But she is bound to Magica, and what she wants more than anything is to be released, and Magica won't release her until they get the dime. So she willfully reverts to the person she was before she made the choice to choose Webby over the dime. Which sucks, because anytime a character backtracks like that, it's frustrating, but at the same time, here it makes sense. It's satisfying. It works as part of her arc. And I'm more anxious than ever to see where her arc goes because of this. I also like her dynamic with Magica. Magica is a very bombastic villain. And I don't know if she exists purely as that shadow thing. Like, could she manifest more completely and do some of this herself down the line? Or does she need Lena the whole time? Is this going to go to the very end of the series? Or at least until we get a full arc of this stuff that resolves it. But her personality's fun for a villain, and her dynamic with Lena is good. They play off of each other really well. She's very flamboyant. Lena's very reserved. It makes for a good duo. Just overall, I really look forward to seeing these characters again. And considering how much this episode furthered their story arc, I feel like this one's a must-see. Like, absolutely. There are some episodes of the show that you could skip, and you'd be fine. But you have to watch this one if you're a fan. You just do. So I feel confident in getting some answers when I say, what do you guys think of the DuckTales episode Jaws with a money sign? If you have seen it, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't. You can also check out links to my various social medias, as well as the many ways you can help out the channel. Those will be in the video description, but either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.